have the toughest guys and we have the best guys. And I'm willing to go to Chicago, which is a big trouble, but we have a governor that refuses to admit he has problems, huge problems. Baltimore, Wes Moore was telling me I want to walk with the president. Well, I said, I want to walk with you too someday, but first you got to clean up your crime because I'm not walking in Baltimore right now. Baltimore is a hellhole. And this guy, I don't even think he knows it. He's another candidate for president. Between him and Newsom, you got some real beauties, I'll tell you. But if we didn't go into Los Angeles, you wouldn't have the Olympics, in my opinion. You wouldn't have the Olympics. We went in, and the sheriff, the boss, said, thank God they're here. You could see his tape. He said, we were not able to control what was happening. That was the sheriff. And he said it loud and clear. And, you know, they're suing us for going in and cleaning up crime. And yet their own sheriff said, on the first or second night, he said, we could have never handled. That was going to be, you were not going to have the Olympics or the World Cup, because that would be, there wouldn't be anything left. They shouldn't have lost 25,000 houses. The water was turned off from the Pacific Northwest. And I was after them in my first administration, turn on the water, turn it on. Nobody could have believed this could have happened. But they had no water in the fire hydrants. They had no water in the sprinkler systems that people put up in their ceilings. There was no water. And yet we have tremendous amounts of water. They send it all into the Pacific Ocean, trying to protect a certain little fish that's not doing well because it doesn't do well without water either. And it shouldn't be a protected it shouldn't be a protected species. But I think that's actually just an excuse. I actually think these people are sick. There's something wrong. So we send hundreds of millions of gallons of water a day into the Pacific Ocean. They turn a valve, and the valve heads out, and we turn the valve back. I actually had to do it using force. We turned the valve back, and now they have water, but not as much as they should have, because they should, and I'm telling Gavin Newsom by this conversation right now, turn the rest of the water on. Turn it on. So things are done that are so sad in this country. Lack of common sense. I like to say the Republican Party is the party with common sense. We're smart, we're sharp, we're this to that. They're smart, but they're radical left people. And they can't help it. They're very smart, but they're radical left, and they're destroying our country, but they're not going to destroy it anymore. So we picked up millions of people in the Republican Party. They lost millions of people. And I think we're going to do very well in the midterms. And I just want to say one other thing, and that's medicine. The cost of medicine all over the world is much cheaper than the United States because for years the world pushed us around, including our friends. And you go to Germany, you go to England, you go to different places, and you go to a store, and it's sometimes 10% of what we pay in the United States because they said, nope, we're not paying any more. You charge the United States. This went on for 25, 30 years. And I invoked favored nations. I said, I want to pay the same as they're paying. And Bobby Kennedy is doing a good job, and Dr. Oz is doing a good job. And I asked them, I mean, other than the basics that they're doing on autism and other things, which we got to solve that problem because it's crazy what's happening, it's out of hand. But this is the most important thing that can be done is favored nations, Bobby. And we're not talking about a 25% cut or 50. We're talking about a 1,500% cut because people go to Europe to buy drugs and they come back with drugs, prescription drugs, normal, not, I don't mean the bad drugs, I mean prescription drugs, because you can buy them for 10%, 15%, 20% of what. So they're going to go up in price. And I told the countries, and I get along good with all of them. I mean, you could ask I get along good with all of them. But I said, you know, I told them, I said, you're going to go up a little bit because it's the world. It's the world. So more people in the world than we have. We're going to go down a lot, and they're going to go up a little. And it's called equalization. We're going to have equalization. So we pay the same price as the lowest drug sold anywhere in the world. And I think, Bobby, that's going to happen pretty soon. The companies are ready for it. They had to go for years. I was with a very great gentleman from Eli Lilly. I think he's an incredible executive. I mean, I'll mention the company and I'll mention him because we had this argument my first term, and then we had it in my second term. In my second term, I wouldn't stop until I won the point, and he threw up his hands. He says, "You're right, I can no longer defend it. I can no longer defend that a pill that's made by Johnson & Johnson in a factory, in the same factory, in the United States versus a place in Europe or other places, including Canada, by the way, you could buy it for 10% or 15% or 20%, the cost of what we're paying, where we'd pay 5, 6, 7 times more money." He said, "It's the hardest part of my job, defending that. I'm not going to do it anymore." I'm saying that we have to get down to business. And that's a great company. He's done a great job, and I appreciated it. And it really broke the ice because they were sending, well, we have to do research and development. Well, you have to do it for Germany and all these other countries too. Well, they think the United States should bear it. I mean, I heard this stuff and I finally said, it's over. Now, you have to have somebody that can get these countries to do it. I told them, if you don't do it, we're going to charge you a 25% tariff on everything you send into our country. That's much more money than what we're talking about. Then we have to get the drug companies to do it, and they'll do it because we have tremendous power over the drug companies too. So we're going to get it done. I just hope we get it done fast, Bobby, because this thing should go fast. But we're going to get, the cost of medicine is going to be 1,000%. Think of that. Not 2%. And I'll just tell this last story. When I was in my first term, in my last year, I was so proud of myself because drug prices went down for the first time in 28 years under my administration. You know how much it went down? 1/4%. And I was so proud of that. And I held a news conference, I think you'll be able to find it, congratulating myself and my administration because for the first time in 28 years, drug prices went down. 1/4%. That isn't tiny, but it still went down. And I thought it was great. And then I realized, you know, it's a very complicated business and formula. You got to be very smart. I said, we're really getting ripped off by the whole world. The whole world is ripping us off. And what happened is I got on this kick, and I got the drug companies to agree, and I got countries to agree. And they're not agreeing because they think I'm a nice person. They're agreeing because I will put charges and costs and tariffs onto them that will be many times more than what they're going to be paying. So the companies are there and the countries are there. And we got to get it done, Bobby. We got to get it done. And we're going to have the biggest price of it. Now, that's going to lower Social Security, Medicare, This is going to lower everything because drugs go for everything. It's going to have the biggest impact, I think, of anything that can possibly be done. But your costs are going to be going down for medicine, for prescription drugs, will be going down at levels that nobody ever thought possible. And that's going to happen in a matter of a very short period of time. And we're all set with the countries, and we're all set with the companies. That's all you need, the two. And the middleman gets cut out. Under this scenario, the middleman doesn't exist anymore. That was the other thing. They always blamed the middleman. I said, who are the middlemen? Nobody knew who the middleman was. You know,
That's right.
They had the most complex formula. It was genius, but they didn't get away with it. So I'm counting on Bobby. Do you want to start, Bobby? Maybe we'll start with you. You can start with that and then go on to what we're talking about.
We are deep into MFN negotiations, most favored nation status negotiations with 14 companies. Howard Lutnick is a breath of fresh air, and I think he's going to help us get across the finish line with the leverage that we have from tariffs.
They're smart. Don't let them get away with it, Howard.
Well, the combination of Bobby's MFN and the 232 Pharmaceuticals, which we launched together,
Right.
When you put those two together, it really gives Bobby the tools to go execute your plan. So I'm supporting Bobby as he executes his plan.
Good. Right?
Yes. And this cabinet meeting is supposed to be about working Americans and bringing jobs back to this country, and particularly rural America. And I want to mention the big, beautiful bill. Right now, we spend 7% of Medicaid dollars on rural